All right, welcome to the Bryce A Show. So today, I've titled this episode Candace the Chameleon. My buddy here joining me is the only Siaka Massaquoi. How are you, my brother?
What's up, man? I'm doing well. God is great. I just went out to a nice little downtown in Nashville with my wife and two little kids, and that was fun. Little brunch morning thing. Now we're back and getting to it. So it was a nice morning.
Well, downtown Nashville is a wonderful place. I like
it.
There's, obviously there's areas in which the chaos reigns supreme, and you got the tourist stuff and all that wildness.
Well,
it's a cool spot otherwise.
You know what happened, man? Since we're going to go there today, I'm going to start off by going there right now. But man, white female liberals do not know how racist they can be. There was we go into a store, we're looking around, we leave. And as we're leaving, this one lady strikes up a conversation with Charlotte, and we're talking, and then they start hearing the buzzwords. Oh, I love this area. It's changed so much. It's so much more diverse than it used to be. The diversity was that, and it's diverse. And I used to be a school teacher, and it's diverse. Like our mayor here, Nashville, is amazing, but there's so much more homelessness coming here, but that's a problem. Our governor is doing that. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't really add up, but whatever. She keeps talking about diversity and why she has to go to a public school. And then she's like, yeah, like the other day I went to pick up my son and his boyfriend from the Ryman. And I'm like, Cheryl and I are just like, And we're like, oh, we're up in Gallatin. And she's like, yeah, look at. She goes, how's Sumner County? What's going on? We're like, oh, it's great. We love it. It's fantastic. Like people ask us about church, and it's the best thing ever. She's like, oh, okay, that's good, because I remember it wasn't as diverse back in the day. I'm like,
no, diversity is really not a value, people.
Yeah,
and I wish they would just understand. Diversity is a byproduct that you get along the joint values that you share with people, and playing into meritocracy, you're going to get diversity, and you're going to get a natural level of diversity that makes life wonderful, right? Who doesn't want interesting people from diverse backgrounds? But diversity, all they mean when they say that is race.
Black people, black people and more brown people.
I'm so with it. I mean, look at me. I just believe in diversity.
And I'm standing there with Xavier on my shoulders, and then Charlotte sitting there with like Olive in a little pack, and I'm just like, and all I'm thinking is, not right now. I was like, I'm with the family. I don't need to get into it, like let her have her little moment of feeling proud of herself.
I know. It's funny.
So how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm pissed off though.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm going to, for the audience, I think most people are paying attention right now. But the people who, as soon as Charlie Kirk died, the world, for a moment came together, and people were listening to hours of his content and holding hands and like, wow, this is amazing. And, of course, that's not going to last forever. Right. But so many more people, consumed his content, and then, because of that, there's a whole bunch of people that want to know, like, what happened? How did the things go wrong? And so all the amateur sleuths out there, start to ask questions and look at the things that don't add up or aren't clear or whatever, right? And then in come the grifters. Shamefully, one of the number one grifters out there is Candace Owens. I've talked about her on a couple of shows.
Yeah, number one podcast in the world now.
And it is because what she did is she is trafficking off of the death of Charlie Kirk.
Yes, she is.
And it's disgusting because she's saying things that are absolutely disgusting, and she's calling things lies that aren't lies. She's parading her opinions as if they are facts on certain things.
Right.
And she's joined by a handful of other big time social media influencers who are riding this wave with her. And it's gross. And it's upsetting, particularly because she's attacking people that, you and I both know. She's attacking people in some of the most ludicrous manner. And she's taking little grains of truth, which is what the devil does, right?
I was like, you know who did that in the
Yeah.
garden?
Yeah, and so they'll take little grains of truth, and they'll also weaponize people's ignorance.
Right.
And one of those, for example, Brian Harpool, who I absolutely love, who was the head of the contracted security firm that provided event security for all the TPUSA events.
Mm-hmm.
He's been working, with Charlie, part of another firm years ago, but I mean, really for 7 or 8 years, he's been on Charlie's broader security team, and guys like Dan Flood. And those are the only 2 guys that'll use their names because they're out there publicly.
Right.
But Charlie contracted Dan. He worked for TPUSA as Charlie's direct close protection guy. And then Brian Harpool worked as the outside contractor for all of the events. And these guys are top notch, really good dudes. Many of them come from very, very strong backgrounds in SF. Many of them were very serious operators. Many of them were decorated police officers. Now, none of that makes a good security guy unless you really understand security and go through, that kind of training, because it's event security and close protection is a very different thing than just being a cop or being a Navy SEAL or all that stuff. But he went on the Sean Ryan show. Oh, yeah. And it was released.
Yeah.
And did a couple of hours, and he did a good job talking in great detail. And also refuting a lot of the BS. And of course, everybody's saying, that, I mean, a lot of people were going on there and saying that, oh yeah, these guys were in on it. Look at how smoothly they handled. Well, they train these things, right? Oh, they don't look like, they were surprised at all. They look like they expected Charlie to get shot. They were in on it. I mean, some of the dumb stuff that they're saying about the event space, I mean, most of Charlie's events can only be controlled so much unless you were like having security, secret service level details. And by that, I mean, the law supports them doing things that Brian and his team could not do.
And Candace tried to use this as a example of like, look, this is weird. Turning point, and this is part of what's disingenuous with her. I mean, among a lot of other things, but she knows how that organization works. They'll on a dime will turn left because it's like, hey, let's go do this now today because this is an opportunity, and it's like, boom, we got this organized really quickly. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to go. And I'm not saying they did that for Utah, but like the idea that events could come up quickly and they can like get it together really quick, fast is like, that's kind of what made Charlie and TP
they did that about his funeral. Like, see, they knew that this was going to happen. Like, this thing was all planned out. Look at how they put this event together. Well, that's what TPUSA specialized in.
Yes. Yeah. Which that's what makes it so terrible, because she knows that.
She does.
She's been around there for multiple years and she knows that's how it works. But like you said, to the ignorance of the people. And I think we're playing in it's the same thing as Seth Dillon was telling me about this a year ago about the woke right. Same thing as the woke left.
Yeah.
They sit there and they make statements of people who aren't paying attention, intelligent enough, whatever you want to call it. And it sounds emotionally convincing. Yeah. I said this to this guy. He's like, I've seen 30-06 military guys. I've seen it. And it doesn't do that. I go, okay. In court, they have to prove it. They have the bullet and they have the casing. If it matches, then what? Well, if it's really that, I go, what? Then it's always going to be if it's something else. Like, when are you going to go, okay, this is something solid I can hold on to and go, this has to be seen as real right here because this is what it is in like the court of law. Like, when are you going to go there?
Yeah, well, they can't. Well, Candace and others, Stu Peters, Candace Owens, Ryan Mata, those people, Ian Carroll, even, who I liked, they are weaponizing the ignorance of others. My name's, all over there because I'm on the 990 for the organization that paid Charlie and Tyler, right?
Right.
And it was part of the, network of organizations that made up the TPUSA family, right? and I was the board president of that particular organization. So my name's on it. So I'm out there. And look at this. This is really suspicious. Well, people don't know how 501c3s work. People don't know how a group of 501c3s can, pass money, without question. Somebody made some dumb comment. In fact, I'll grab it because it's amusing. But somebody hit me with that basically what they're saying is how are the millions? I have a question, Mr. Eddy. How are the millions that TPUSA grants you as the principal offer of Turning Point to accomplish its stated purpose to educate students about fiscal responsibility, capitalism, and free markets without ATP even having a website or a YouTube channel? Can you show some testimonials from actual students have been educated by the 501c3, which gets, they put 501c, but whatever, which gets all of its money from grants from TPUSA without anybody ever seeing evidence of the alleged education taking place? How do you keep the education so secret anyway? Do it in a cave somewhere in the Nevada desert?
Yes.
Right?
So, now maybe figured it out.
Maybe this was a bot or something like that. But literally, the ATP is the organization in which the educator himself, the teacher himself, Charlie Kirk, gets paid out of, which is hilarious.
That's how it's said.
Saying that
because they don't know. Again, they don't. When you don't know,
and the implication is in there that I'm using the millions of dollars.
Yeah, I know. Hey, as a friend of Bryce, I can tell you he's not.
I'm not using the millions.
No, I know
there was then this other, and this person, and well, I'll read this one because this one's good. I'm not a fan, and I wanted to explain why. First of all, you claim to be a Christian, yet you belittle and slander Candace Owens and call her names like anti-Semite. I'll call her a Jew hater. How about that? Maybe that's a better word.
That's a little easier.
Which, in my opinion, is wrong. You don't have to agree with her, but to attack her, I feel, is not very Christian-like on your part. Second, that you were on the show. Second, your guest Siaka is telling lies, and you're going along with these lies. I'm cleaning up their spelling.
With their spelling.
Mikey was not covered in blood. He didn't even stick around to do anything. He straight up walked away and didn't look back, not once. He was not a hero that day in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, he was a coward who didn't do anything to help Charlie. And there's video to prove this. So either your guest is stupid/ignorant, or he's a liar. And the fact that you're not correcting him is concerning, cause it makes you to appear either stupid, ignorant, or a liar too. So which is it? So are you both just ignorant, stupid to the facts, or are you deliberately lying to create a false narrative that is very easily debunked due to a very public video that shows Mikey walking away like nothing was going on and not helping Charlie or anyone for that matter at all? I'm not trying to be mean or anything else. I seriously want to know how you can sit there and say that things are blatantly not true and then expect anyone to believe you when you attack others who so far have not lied at all and has backed everything up with proof that TPUSA people have verified as true publicly. Now, I guess whether you tell me the truth or a lie, or if you even respond, will determine whether I watch or support your channel or not. Well, I'm responding, so I expect support. I like your overall stance on many things, but if you're going to just lie about things to make your narrative float, then I'm not going to waste my time on you. I believe in giving everyone a chance to explain themselves before I make any judgments. Oh, so sweet of them.
Too late.
So here's your chance to do that. Let's just see how honest and Christian you really are. Sincerely, Cynthia. That's Cynthia Martin, 383. There you go.
Wait, before you go, real quick, before you go, she said, I don't like that you're attacking Candace and name calling an anti-Semite is not Christian. Didn't she just turn around and call you and me both liars and enablers?
Yeah, of course.
So, but according to her, you don't do that, but unless she's doing that to defend her point, then it's okay to call people.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm
enough.
calling Candace Owens an anti-Semite or a Jew hater because she is trafficking in those kind of things right now.
Right.
And under the guise of, I'm only asking questions. Right now, I've said it on this show, and we've talked about this. You can criticize Israel. You can criticize Jews. You can criticize the secular government of Israel. You can criticize people. You can hold them accountable, and you can do it in love, and you can do it as an evangelist. You can do it a bunch of different ways. But what they're doing is creating a rise in hatred towards a specific group of people,
right?
Based on all kinds of lies, verifiable lies over and over again that Candace is trafficking in. She does not understand what Israel has done to wage the best war possible after October 7th against a regime that wants them dead down to a man.
Are you saying Candace doesn't?
Candace doesn't understand war.
No. She, I don't think it. I think we have to come to a point where she understands everything she's doing. She knows what she's doing. It's not about understanding Israel's tactic for this. It's Israel doing it something else up. And the reason why, and I'll say this here, I think it's catering to Islam personally, because they're chopping up Christians as we speak. And I've heard not word one from the Christian saying that she's a strong Christian, talking about how she follows a strong Christian faith. Be quiet about Christians being executed by Muslims right now throughout the world. So yeah, you can go ahead and say Israel does this, Israel does that, but when you're silent on the clear and present danger that Christians face right now, as again, we're talking, there's probably some Christians being killed right now, and you're silent, but you want me to believe the ones who are the issues are the Jews that are Israeli Jews that don't really even, a lot of some.
Yeah, well, Comic Dave Smith does the same thing. You know, I just want to stop the dead babies. You know, Bryce, Eddy here. Most of you know I'm an aggressive, high-energy guy, a 4th-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and between bodybuilding and my high-intensity lifting sessions, I still train like I'm 25. You don't need to be a maniac like me to have painful, stiff joints, but if you do, Joint Complex by Nation Health MD can help. I'm a big believer in this stuff. It doesn't matter if you're struggling with aches or stiffness in your knees, hips, or back. Joint Complex contains natural ingredients that promote joint comfort and mobility. It features high-quality turmeric and boswellia to support a healthy inflammatory response. It contains natural eggshell membrane, which promotes strong and supple joint cartilage. Every bottle of Joint Complex is manufactured here in America, so you know you're getting the best quality for your money. Right now, you can try Joint Complex risk-free and save 35% on your order. Go to nationhealthmd.com and enter discount code BRYCE at checkout. That's nationhealthmd.com and discount code BRYCE to get 35% off your order of Joint Complex today.
Yeah.
I just want to stop the killing, but he doesn't care about any other dead babies around the globe.
Yeah, that's the point right there. I'm done with all that. Oh, the kids, the dead babies, the starving babies. Are you pro-choice? Yes. Then don't say anything. You can't say anything to me about any of those stuff about any other babies, because you're pro-choice. That means you're pro-killing babies anyway. If you're now upset that it's happened in the war and you can maybe see it from your iPhone that's made by slaves. Oh yeah, no, let's okay. Then get off this high horse with all that.
Yeah, or the Islamists that are murdering Christians. I mean, the people, you don't have to take the you don't even need to make the abortion debate. We can talk about the Christians that are being slaughtered all over the globe by Islamists right now. And he's silent on that. She's silent on that. But I mean, here, let me talk about. I'll talk about the Mikey McCoy thing, because that one bothers me. Obviously, you and I know Mikey well. He's Rob McCoy's son. I watched him land on the desk of Charlie Kirk and helping Charlie as his assistant, right? I saw him take that role and dynamically perform over time and grow into being the chief of staff. and he really grew into his own under Charlie's guidance, and sitting at the right hand of Charlie and being a get it done kid, right? Young kid, came into that role and flourished, right? I have a great deal of respect for Mikey. Mikey's job wasn't to jump on Charlie. That was his close protection and security detail. That was Dan Flunn's job. You know what Mikey did? He went immediately and he made phone calls to Erica Kirk. He made phone calls to his dad. How do I know he made a phone call to his dad within minutes? Is because I received a text from Rob being on a thread that Charlie Kirk started for about 12 or 15 of us that represent the board. And it includes Andrew, Colvette, and Tyler, and a lot of other people that are being excoriated and ripped to shreds as Candace Owens tries to burn the TPUSA house down. The house that built her, by the way. Charlie Kirk built her, and he wasn't as close to her in the last several years because of the choices that she made and the bridges that she burned and the things that she started espousing out there under the guise of just asking questions. No Jews, no news was should have been Candace Owens' show.
That's the little header, the header that comes underneath the Candace Owens show. No Jews, no news. That's funny.
But anyway, now where she's getting this, Mikey was not covered in blood. Okay, look, I've said this one time before on somebody else's show, but Rob McCoy, and pastors out there in their sermons on Sunday after these things. Number one, there's fog of war, right? The chaos, the oh my gosh, the shock of what did Mikey tell me? Dad, I was right there. Who knows? Covered. Then it becomes covered in blood. Okay, that's the embellishment of a pastor. Pastors aren't without sin in embellishing things. Whatever. Okay. Get over it. That's a dumb little nitpicky thing that they are using to act as if Rob and Mikey were in on it. Suddenly it goes from Pastor Rob embellishing on a Sunday sermon. Okay. And maybe he thought Mikey was covered in blood. Maybe he thought he heard that, maybe Mikey was afterwards and going and grabbing Charlie's things.
I think we don't know. Well, that's what Frank Turek actually talked about that he got that's how they got blood on themselves is because they were helping with Charlie after the fact. And so Mikey was came out, at least correct me if I'm wrong, you guys will go check it out. But Frank said when he did his video, he was he had blood on himself. Mikey had blood. Then Mikey was according to Frank, was the one trying to get as much to a sense of normalcy as possible. Let me get you a new pair of clothes. I got so-and-so's coming today. He was trying to keep every line of communication between the groups, I guess, of people who were trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah. While also making sure the people who were there were taken care of. Yeah. That was according to another eyewitness in Frank Turk, Pastor Frank Turk. So yeah, he had blood on himself. In that little space there, you were going to get blood on yourself and covered in blood. It was
a lot of blood. I mean, you saw it. But let's go with he wasn't covered in blood and it was an embellishment or exaggeration. Okay. Does that mean just that alone? Does that mean that oh, well, they were in on it? Because after all, you'd be surprised at the number of ex-military people that were around. This was a deep state military op led by Mossad and Israel and our deep state government to kill Charlie. I mean, they're taking things like that as evidence that it was a massive conspiracy. And again, to get clicks, that's what she's doing. And that's evil. And that's why I'm calling her out, Cynthia.
Well, do you also know that first week of her podcast, it hit the highest peak in 3 years at 45 million.
Oh yeah, she's running on this and she's making a ton of money, and people don't understand how it works.
Ton of money. She's literally doubled her views from 5 to 10 or 10 to 20.
So so according to her, I mean, and she is a money hungry bee. And I know this because of, years of behind the scenes of what she demanded for her talks, of the fact that this is a woman that didn't do anything for free for anybody. Every other podcaster, every other personality
Yeah.
would do all kinds of favors for others, would do favors for their friends. I'm not aware of any time that Candace had done that. And remember, she leapt from one organization that built her to another organization that built her to another that built her. And each time she's parlaying it. And by the way, that's career
That's
advancement.
business. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
business.
there's nothing wrong with that. But she leaves a wake of destruction, in her past.
She burns that bridge on the way out.
Yeah, and now Charlie was gracious towards her,
Yes,
and
very
didn't
gracious.
say anything, and continued to let her on stages and continued to invite her to events until she started saying really dumb things. Okay. And yes, she said a lot of really dumb things. Just do the Moroccan flag one, or hit some of the really stupid things, that ignorant things that she says. Candace Owens is not as bright as people think she is, and I will evidence one thing. Okay, go and watch her Joe Rogan interview.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
Because well, it exposes something incredibly important. Okay, if she's got her talking points, she aggressively advocates for her talking points, and she's quick, and all that stuff. And by the way, that is a level of brightness. I'm not saying she lacks intelligence,
right?
But she lacks depth.
Yes.
She lacks depth in positions. If she was any kind of conservative throughout time and history, which she wasn't, she was an Obama girl. Okay.
Right.
She was an Obama girl that tapped into this vein, one of one. She could be that conservative gal. That side was crowded with all of that. Right. She didn't stand out over there. She stood out becoming a conservative. Some of her positions, I'll bet, are authentic. A lot of them are not. You could not be a conservative for 10 minutes without understanding the conservative argument. I mean, she was peaking, going on Joe Rogan's show.
That's a big deal.
She was crushing, right?
Yeah.
And she had a lot. For her to not be able to talk about climate change and our position of climate change in any depth whatsoever, to be so far out of her waters, I questioned, that moment and other moments, her actual conservative chops.
Well, for me, I'll tell you exactly what stood out to me was that, I think I've said this before, but I went to the Blexit event in DC, and it's when Trump came out afterwards, and it was after he had COVID, right? And he came out and talked to all of us, spoke to us at the Rose Garden. And there was a group of people. This guy, I found out later, is King Randall, and it's he does organizations called thexforboys.com. Check it out. It's an amazing organization. He was standing there, and he had like 12 or probably 8 or 9 guys standing with him. Like, these guys look young, like anywhere between 15 and 18. I go, they're wearing all black though. And in any pro-Trump stuff, it's usually red, white, and blue, man. Some of these all black were like Antifa. So with my buddy, I go, hey, let's go interview them. So we go up and we ask him, and he's like, yeah, I'll talk. And he starts breaking it down. Yeah, we're here. We're called the X for Boys. We're about like teaching young men how to be men, teaching young boys how to be men, teaching them things like, a trade skill, how to like eat dinner properly, how to hold conversations, how to put a business plan together, how to change a tire, all this stuff, right? We do a quick little interview. Later on that week, or in a couple of days, he starts getting money. That week, he's like, thanks, man. I got, like, this is the biggest donations we ever got. We got $5,000 from just that video. And I was just curious. I didn't know anything. Fast forward, and I'm talking to him. I'm like, hey, man, did you get any kind of like hits, like anything from Blexit or anything from Candace? He's like, nah, we don't hear anything from her. Nothing at all. I'm like, that's weird. Like, you're starting to blow up. And anyone, again, look up King Rando for the X for Boys. You see where he is now. And I bring this up because he sat there and kept pushing along. And he even told me he got offered money from the left to kind of come under their banner. He goes, I couldn't do it because I know what they were about. But I didn't get anything from over here. Why would a person who spent years, at least since 2016, 17, talking about how the black community needs black men for a big resurgence and to stand back in there, and she've heard her, I love black men. My grandfather raised me, this, that, and the other. And it's something as simple as a retweet or a help to platform King Randall, who's taking young boys between the ages. And this kid started it in his apartment at 18. He's 24 now, and he's taken it. He bought a school. He's done all that. Why couldn't you just, at least a guy who came to your event with kids who the first time they ever flew was to DC to be spoke to by the president of the United States? not even a word. And it had me thinking, outside of Brandon Tatum, who they all started at the same time, how many black men who are straight have you seen her help and put up there as she's saying we need more black men?
No, she doesn't. I mean, I think she's incredibly inauthentic, and that's the only value that I hold kind of at universally at the top. When it comes to friends and people,
right.
Is, are you authentic? You could be an authentic a-hole, and I will like you, rather than an inauthentic, nice person.
Yeah. I bartended with a guy like that. He was authentically an a-hole, but he was awesome.
Dude, I love somebody who's really themselves, right? And she is not really that. And that's why she can, shift into this chameleon status and be going out there and pretending like Charlie and her were seriously close right now. And I do think she had a love for Charlie. Over the years, people had speculated it was a romantic love and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't think that that's the case. But what I do find suspicious about that and concerning is how badly she's going after Erica Kirk. And that has this weird hint of jealousy. This has this weird hint of, now this is my opportunity. It's kind of disgusting.
Bro, I'm kind of, I think it's interesting that you brought it up, that anything about anyone or the stuff that we've talked about behind the scenes stuff. I didn't know, and I was just watching from a distance. And someone's like, the only person that can tell me to stop talking about this dead guy who was executed is my husband or his wife. And I'm like, and then just the way it was moving, it to me, again, remove all the stuff we just talked about before. If I'm just watching, I would be like, oh man, she likes him, or oh man, she's holding on to something that maybe wasn't reciprocated or something that happened. Again, this is just me looking. This is no reports. I haven't seen anything. I'm not trying to claim anything. I'm watching as a man who I've experienced a lot of different relationships and with women and just how it moves. And that's just off my experience. I could be completely wrong, but I'm telling you what I've experienced. I go, yeah, there's something a little more there.
Well, look, her, Stu Peters, all Ryan Mata, all these people are getting traffic like they've never gotten before.
Right.
Based on talking about Charlie and his death and talking about it in these conspiratorial terms, because people are hungry for it. And all the audience that was consuming Charlie's content now is like, whoa, wait, hey, something's fishy, so then they get directed to this. And again, their ignorance gets weaponized. My sister has a friend who I think's a sweetheart, who screenshotted my name and was like, oh, Bryce, oh, this is suspicious, Carissa, don't you think so?
Everything
is like, hold up. Okay, I've sat on many different 501c3 boards. I understand, and most of them in the conservative world, though not all of them. I have been a contributor to many 501c3s. I understand that. I understand business as an entrepreneur. I've had my own 501c3 and a 501c4. That's how we worked in Ventura County to, get our sheriff turned over. And and other things like the board of supervisors and all that stuff. We did a lot of that work at the local level. I understand this stuff because I've been in it. Your average person, even some of your average business people who are unfamiliar with 501c3s and how they work and how they get approved and what the missions are and all that sort of stuff to be granted that tax status, and then what the accounting rules are and all that stuff. People are weaponized in their ignorance by people like Candace or others that are like, oh, this looks suspicious to me, and all of these sort of things. It's just foolishness.
Well, to your point of the lack of intelligence on this subject, this 501c3s have been one of the main contributors to how the left has moved in our country to fund candidates and movements. And if you look at, I remember I spoke at like the Oregon Republican Club meeting, and I asked how many people are business owners. Like 90% of the room, 95 are like me. I was like, how many people are 501c3? Like one person in the back. I go, well, there's the difference. It's the other side understands how to move money using that apparatus. Where on our side, like you said, even the business owners who you would think know how to move money properly and to be able to affect some outcomes, they don't know it. So that person, if this side of the money people don't know it, what's the average person going to do? And they miss the point that this is a tool that is used to win elections and to influence in communities. That's what a lot of people have been feeling. So now it's fishy when you're doing it. Like it's sad. It's sad to see the ignorance.
It's
bro.
bizarre. It's bizarre. But hey, I want to go through and let's go through each one of these. But so she's got a running list. And this is a list from maybe a week ago, I think right now. But TPUSA verified lies, and I screenshotted this. So, number one, the amazing, heroic, magnificent Mikey McCoy had blood all over him. Okay, we covered that one, right?
Right.
Offender, Pastor Rob McCoy. Okay, and I explained the embellishment.
Offender.
You explained what you heard from Frank Kirk was there,
yeah.
right? That okay, Mikey did have blood, covered because of his actions after, right?
Yeah.
Listen to Frank Turek explain the car ride, the SUV ride taking Charlie to the hospital. Listen to Brian Harpool and on the Sean Ryan show going blow by blow about what they did. And those guys served Charlie. Those guys loved Charlie. Those guys on his team, especially that core team that have been with Charlie forever, would have taken that bullet for him.
And let me say this real quick before you go on. I remember when Rob McCoy announced that Mikey was going to be working for Charlie. I just thought about this as you were saying it. Rob was so proud. Mm-hmm. He was so proud that Mikey was going to be given this opportunity that was beyond like just going to college.
Yeah.
And Rob was so excited. You could see he was elated that his son was going to learn from this guy that, yes, Charlie looked up to Rob as his pastor, but Rob looked up to Charlie as like, well, how he was moving as a man in this world. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he was going to reach for his son and take him under his wing like that, trust me when I say this to you guys, audience, it's like Rob was so elated and proud that Mikey was going to be working with him as just his assistant. He wasn't like he's going to be working as his chief of staff. He's like, no, my son's going to be going and being an assistant to this awesome thing, and that's it.
And by the way, it was a 24/7 job. I mean, everybody at TPUSA worked 24/7. Charlie, nobody could outwork him. The interesting thing about that too is, there's a tax right now. Well, actually, it's one of her things here on the lies. We're going to get to it. Number two, Charlie was a committed evangelical who only liked Catholic architecture. Offender, Alex Clark and Andrew Colvette. Okay, Charlie, time and time again, talked about being an evangelical. It talked about being a Christian, not a Catholic, but at the same time, and here's what's interesting, and I said this, I think, on one other broadcast or one other show. What she's conflating there is Charlie was genuinely in admiration of things about Catholicism, as am I, by the way. And I have a couple of history. Oh my gosh, and I have a couple of Catholic brothers and Catholic guys. Shout out to my buddy Tommy, who I absolutely love and adore, who's like, I'm gonna get Bryce to become a Catholic. Okay.
Shout out to Matt Frad. He's amazing.
And here's what I appreciate about Catholicism, and Charlie and I had these conversations. We love the guys that are flocking to Latin Mass right now share this, by the way. There is a seriousness and a reverence that is lacking in evangelical circles, right?
Yeah, consistency. Yeah,
there is a fact that if you go just about anywhere in the world, you can do a Latin Mass anywhere in the world, and it is pretty much the same thing. Mm-hmm. There's a comfort in that. There's a beauty of their buildings and the institution being built beautifully, and the traditions and those sort of things are a beautiful thing that sadly, the evangelicals kind of threw the baby out with the bathwater, right? And abandoned a lot of things. It's also why Charlie had an admiration and appreciation that was growing for Eastern Orthodox, right? Yeah. And you and I both know, guys who are moving in that path now. Gone down that road because of that same thing. There's a reverence. There's a seriousness. Same thing with the Reformed guys. And they get to drink bourbon and smoke cigars. Those Reformed guys really have it. But there's a seriousness, that lacks. Missing. That lacks in some of the feminized culture of the evangelical movement and the Calvary movement and all those sort of things. There's stuff that is missing there that Charlie appreciated. Now, Candace, what she's calling a verified lie, she's not presenting evidence other than her. I had a conversation maybe with Charlie, maybe, right? Who knows? Maybe she's presented evidence and I've missed it. But Charlie expressing, let's call it, a frustration towards certain parts of evangelical movement is not, hey, I'm going Catholic, therefore everybody here is lying.
Yeah, it's like I'll sit there and criticize the right for not showing up for elections, but doesn't mean now I'm gonna go ahead and start voting for the Democrats. Like, that's insane. It's going like, hey guys, let's wake up and get our butts in gear.
Yeah.
But to that point of her bringing that up, this is why I think devil's always in the details. And if we can take a moment, everyone watching, to like listen to the overall movement of this person. What good is it doing to finding out who killed Charlie, if that's what you're looking for, to drop in, and he's not evangelical, and he wants, like, what is that outside of separation? That's all it does.
She's building a narrative. She's building a narrative, right? This reminds me of somebody who's trying to, gain custody of kids in a divorce. Right. And so they're building this overarching narrative about how awful the other party is. Right.
Right.
And grasping at things to build this narrative. It's gossip. It's slanderous.
I remember it was
wicked.
Just dropped. Yeah. And it was just dropped out of nowhere. It's like it had nothing to do with it. And I remember
Candace,
blah, 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 blah.
It's because Candace left the evangelical church to go to Catholicism because of her Lord husband, her royal husband, her not royal, but her British husband with titles, wealthy, very, very wealthy, which is also why she can spend time on this nonsense and does not have to mind what she's saying and doesn't really have to come up with facts. She doesn't care. Really, because she's got a mountain of wealth underneath her.
Yeah.
Charlie's neck stopped a 30-06 bullet because he ate salad and had strong bones. All right, that's an exaggeration of some of the nonsense that people said, like Charlie was a superhero and that's why that bullet didn't go through. Look, bullets, even a 30-06 caliber bullet, doesn't always go through and can be stopped by bones. And
but even with that,
hunters understand that, but that's a silly thing. They're calling a lie because people, number one, this stuff will be proven, in court, right? Yeah. Some of these things, by the way, will not be released to the general public outside of the prosecution of the young man that they say shot him. Are there questions about some of this stuff? I'm comfortable with people questioning the narrative, and clearly the FBI and others who have investigated these things in the past, and the Thomas Crooks thing, you're seeing stuff come out about him, and there's lies that the FBI told. There's deep state actors that conspired to do things that are evil. We can be comfortable saying that stuff, but what Candace is doing is trafficking in so many lies based upon some questions that are legitimate to ask. That's what's evil here. She's doing it for her clicks.
She's doing it on purpose.
Yep.
That's all it comes down to. And when you're saying, like, because I remember that I've watched that clip when she's like, they're saying this, they're saying like it was a miracle. It was a miracle that that his neck stopped it. And she said it very, she does with that very condescending idea. So I'm like, wait a second. Christian woman, you're poo-pooing the idea of a miracle happening involving a Christian man that became a martyr, but yet I'm supposed to believe he came to you in a dream. That's what I'm supposed to believe. There wasn't any miracles over there, but he came to you in a dream and told you everything. So I'm supposed to believe this thing over here, but not this supernatural thing over here.
Yeah.
As a Christian, and it was because, oh boy, when he was on Sean Ryan's show just recently, it was saying the coroner came out and told him it hit his neck, his vertebrae, and then went down. So it was a miracle. It was a miracle that no one behind him was also shot much like what happened to that fireman, when Trump was taken. Like,
Yeah.
yes, it was a miracle that it hit a bone and went down and not back. So yes, that is a miracle.
Or don't call it a miracle. Just call it, hey, praise God that nobody
Praise
else
God
was,
that no one,
that the bullet
yeah,
deflected off a bone and went in the direction that didn't, end up injuring someone else.
And it kind of makes sense if it was coming at this angle and it just popped. What is it going to do if it hits something at a weird angle? It's going to go down.
Bullets
coming down.
Look,
So,
bullets do all
me.
kinds of crazy things. That's what's absurd about her position there and the people that pile on that. And hey, could there have been another shooter? Could there have been? Okay, to act like this guy was just a patsy and yet his family turned him in. I mean, the FBI, if they were like all setting this up in this dark sphere of deep state baloney, then they would have had it set up for that. They wouldn't have needed the public's help to find him. They all of that stuff would have been handled, I think, quite differently.
So and this is something I think that we can agree on. Anything's possible, but what's probable? Is it more likely and more probable that some crazy trans loving individual went out to commit violence acts towards conservatives, and especially someone with a prominent voice, than Mossad setting up Charlie with deep state? Like, what's more probable in just, let's look at the last 3 years.
Yeah.
What would be more probable? Again, anything's possible, but until the other things are proven with real weight, you have to give something more weight than you give the other stuff. Yeah, Spider-Man came down, he swung in and he saved the bullet. That's why he didn't come out the back. Yeah, that's possible. But what's more probable? He doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, along those lines. So, the idea that Israel, would take out Charlie because he was about to waver in his support of Israel is absurd. Yeah. That would be something that they planned to do and got his entire security team or a big portion of his security team to, go along with that. And Pastor Rob McCoy, because his father was a naval officer,
did he using that?
Oh yeah. And because he's got Candace came out, and this is a loose quote, but she basically came out, it's such a surprise. Are you not surprised as to the growing list of military or military adjacent people in TPUSA? All I'm seeing is all these military people around him. So therefore they were all in on it. And Charlie, in a few weeks before this, him expressing frustration. And by the way, that's number 4 here. Charlie never blinked in his support for Israel. Okay. Expressing your frustration about donors. And by the way, I have been part of some of those conversations behind the scenes where donors would pressure Charlie or pressure the organization or pressure us to not put certain people on stages, would pressure us. I mean, remember, they've got money, they're writing big checks. Right, Charlie had to manage that all the time.
Right.
And Charlie was unabashedly committed to free speech and letting people talk. Mm-hmm. And that included people who were going increasingly, off in some of these things, which is why he would have like one of the frustrations that Jewish donors were expressing is platforming, which, by the way, that now all of a sudden the woke right is concerned about platforming. Right. And that used to be something that only the left talked about. Bryce, we're not gonna come on your show, because I challenge people all the time. We're not gonna come on your show because we would
platform you.
Yeah. No, it's because you're chicken.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Charlie managed donors and their expectations all the time. That's what you do in a organization that is donor supported. It's also why over the years, and no, it's not just controlled, and this is one of the lies that's out there, that TPUSA is controlled by just a few billionaires, right? No, we had many, I mean, 800, if you consider just the wealthy donors, right? You had 800 or 900 or 1,000 people that would come every year, and it wasn't the same 1,000 people that were writing the big checks, right? And some of them would write $1 million checks. Some of them would write $2 million checks, $5 million checks. That happened. There's people that gave over time. There's people that gave a heck of a lot of money over time. I gave a lot of money over time. I gave a lot of money in fell swoops here and there as well. By the way, that wasn't a requirement to be on the board. The requirement to be on the board was you had Charlie's back.
Right.
Right. And I did. And I love Charlie, and I appreciate him. And he was a friend of mine, and I was, very loyal to him. If there was a conspiracy that was going on to kill Charlie by Israel or by some, fed up donors that happened to be Jewish or anything else, I'd be one of the first people to be there to out all of that stuff.
Right. And that's it. The more when you break it down like this, it's even more absurd than just the kind of feeling you get when you get it in pieces over the last 2.5 months. But for people to believe that, and how everything she's setting it up like it can't be, it tells you kind of. The best way I could say it is, as I'm talking to different people in different realms, right? And I went to one of the first times we met was at Mar-a-Lago when it was her Turning Point event, and it's Pastor Rob invited me down, a guy who just started going to church and expressed excitement for the Lord. He's like, "Hey, come with me with this thing," right? Where you didn't have to, right? And I'm watching. I went to the donors lunch, and I saw Charlie working his butt off from like 12 to, I want to say it was 2 o'clock, 2 hours of him just telling them, "Remember when I came to you, told you what we're going to do. This is where we've been, which is surpassed what I told you we're going to do. And this is where we're going."
By the way, one of the most masterful people ever in doing
energy.
Charlie would do what they called the, investor update, right?
Yeah.
And Charlie would do that, several times throughout the year based on the event. But the big one was, every year at Mar-a-Lago, we'd have a morning filled with, and man, these events, you might Friday night, you roll in, you get to hang out for a little bit, cocktail party. Everybody gets to say hello and meet and greet and all the people. And I've been to every single one of them. The next morning, boom, 9 a.m. You better be up, in your butt, in your seat, listening to Charlie. And that's what he did. He said, "This is what I said we were going to do. This is what I asked money for. Here's the result. Here's what we did. Here's what we needed. Here's the result. Here's what we're going to do. Here's the result." And he played offense, which, that's why the organization was so effective. And that's why also I believe that, you've got Candace and people trying to take it out, and it'll never be the same without Charlie. Charlie was one of one. And the organization without Charlie is going to go through some serious growing pains. But it still has very high level functions that Charlie set up that was very, very good at. It's the new RNC. I mean, his legacy will never be lost in that sense. But Charlie was brilliant that way. And but I want to hit the Israel thing one more time. Expressing frustration about the pressure that he was getting is not suddenly withdrawing support from the idea. Charlie was not a replacement theory person. Charlie believed in the Bible, the biblical view of, hey, you bless Israel, you will be blessed. You bless the Jewish people, you will be blessed.
He said it multiple times.
And also, let's think about it. And Charlie's talked about this many times too. And I believe this as well. We are in a cruising towards a battle with Islam. And Islam is starting to dominate more than just the Middle East. And you have a very strategic partner in the Middle East, being the only liberal democracy in the Middle East. There is a more than just the one reason to support Israel. And by the way, people do not understand, and I'm going to go into detail on this with James Lindsay, so I won't hear, but our aid that we give to Israel, we get a lot back from it. we get a tremendous amount back from it. We're not just throwing away money.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's a lot of the conservative Israelis are like, okay, we don't need anything from you guys because we have some deals that are really in our favor. And what we get for that money. And so that's, again, pooling and weaponizing ignorance is what Candace and others are doing in the, anti-Jew or Jew hatred world. But number 5 here, the magnificent Mikey McCoy called his father first. I kind of covered that already, but look, Rob saying, because the offender is Rob McCoy, does Rob know the precise order of the phone calls? Did he call Erica first, call him first, did he say, that because he was part of the cover up? No, of course not. Stupid. Rob was called by Mikey. How do I know? Because of that text thread that I was on, and moments after Charlie was shot, I've got the timestamps on it. Moments after Charlie was shot, we were all notified, and the I believe I'm saying the text accurately, but it was, Charlie has just been shot in the neck at an event in Utah. Please pray now. All of us pretty much responded quickly, praying for him, praying now, down on the 15 people on that. And all of us were alarmed, concerned, what happened, and then looking at that video and just seeing the silence and no updates and all that stuff, we knew that it was bad. Bryce Eddy here. Many of you know me for encouraging self-reliance, knowing why you believe what you believe, and helping people prepare for the challenges of our time. But today I want to talk to you about protecting your household's future, starting with your finances. I believe that America is coming into a golden age of opportunity. Right now, gold has surged past $4,000 an ounce, a historic record. And the biggest names on Wall Street are predicting even more growth into 2025 and 2026, with price targets climbing as high as $6,000. And on top of that, we see global instability and nations working together to undermine America's influence, including information warfare, economic weaponry, political subversion, psychological operations, and social manipulation. That's why I've partnered with American Independence Gold. They're veteran-owned, and they give back, donating proceeds to Tunnel to Towers in honor of our first responders and heroes. And here's the opportunity for my listeners and supporters. You can receive up to $10,000 in free gold and silver credited to your account with qualifying purchases. That's real, physical gold and silver, tangible assets that can hold in your hands to defend your wealth. Don't wait until it's too late. Go to bryceeddygold.com. That's bryceeddygold.com, or call 833-324-4653. Again, that's 833-324-GOLD. Take action today. Protect your family and strengthen your future, because freedom and security aren't handed to us. They're preserved by the choices we make. This is Bryce Eddy. Don't just prepare for tomorrow. Own a piece of it.
Right.
He probably called Erica first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and then here's the other side too. Like, they're framing it as if everything that happened needs to be seen through the lens of it's not. There's no good intention behind it, right?
Right.
So they're only looking at it as like, okay, all movement is based on a conspiracy to kill Charlie. What if, just tossing it out there, you didn't take that away and go, let me look at it from, these people loved him and they did their best. Let's see what that looks like. Mikey then would call Erica, or, and it doesn't mean that it's wrong either. What's Mikey, 24 right now?
20,
I think
23, I think.
23, yeah.
Yeah.
A 23-year-old kid just saw his boss and one of his closest friends shot in front of him. Would you not call your daddy?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
I don't understand. Like, people act like
your dad's Charlie's
pastor. Like,
Charlie's pastor. And has a network of people that are going to immediately be alerted and immediately alert others. And I mean, man, I texted a dozen people really quickly, I had then probably 40 or 50 texts, going, is this true? Is this true? People hitting me. And I mean, I was all day long, fielding phone calls and hitting people and asking people, who were closer than I was to the situation. Because, I'm out here in Idaho, which, I almost went to that event. It was 4.5 hours away.
Wow.
I could have driven there. But, just like, okay, what's happening, right? All of us are finding information out piecemeal and in real time, what's happening. And then, you're seeing, I mean, it's fog of war level stuff for those of us that weren't even there, but knew Charlie. The people who were there, it's a, crazy thing. And she's relying, by the way, on that as if these things are lies. She's also, go ahead, man. I think
real quick. I was like, one of the things that she actually got us to do is respond to anything that we say or do as conservative Republicans as inherently wrong. And that's what the left does. Yes. The left, you can tell the left, like, no, Trump's not a racist. No, he is a racist. Trust me. He'd be like, no, how come he helped HBCUs? Well, that's all he did it for himself. Okay, so the narrative has to fit. He's a bad guy. And she got so many people to fall for that same thing. And I'm not talking about empathy. I'm talking about sympathy. If you can sit there and go, what if they all cared about him? How would that look?
Yep.
Because no one trains for, okay, what do you do when your buddy gets shot in front of you?
Well, I mean, the security team did. I mean, the security team actually jumped into action. The security team, handled that perfectly. But the average person, the Mikey boy,
even Mikey, like Mikey,
Frank
Turk, like
I mean, guys like that were around, including the kids, Carroll audiovisual was told to remove the cameras by police. Well, yeah, you have to protect and secure evidence. You have on those cameras the SD cards, and Carroll moved the SD cards because people are stealing hats. Well, there was chaos of the scene. She's calling that a lie. No, there's chaos in that scene, and the police saying things, and also she's there are things that were told firsthand, secondhand, third hand to guys like Andrew and others. And so they're interpreting, oh, here's what I heard, here's what I was told, and all of a sudden those are becoming lies to cover up the truth. That's wicked. And she's doing this for these clicks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Money.
Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk never had any bad blood between them. I like this one because this is absurd. Okay. When you talk to somebody, Charlie and Ben had a little bit of a rivalry. Okay. Now, when I say rivalry, it's a competitive, healthy, Ben was young. Charlie was young. Ben's about 10 years older. Right. Yeah. And he was the young, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old savant, writing books and things like that at a very
violin.
Just like Charlie, he kind of burst on, with his conservatism. With his conservative chops at a very young age. And so, there was a little bit of professional admiration and / jealousy between the two of them. They were both, running in parallel, sometimes at the same time.
It's like Michael Jackson and Prince. It's like they were. Mike used to say, he'd be like, I pray to God every day to come out with a hit before Prince.
Yeah, and so Ben, okay. She says this lie, the offender is Alex Clark and Ben Shapiro. Okay. Charlie never said a bad word about Ben except for words of annoyance on a few things. And I was a witness to that. Okay. Annoyance about some things that Ben said, or some little rub that they had between the two of them, or, that is very different than bad blood.
Right.
Okay. And
is she projecting on that one?
Well, I think so, right? Because Candace and Ben Shapiro have bad blood.
Right.
And Candace, kicked Ben in the proverbial nuts many, many times.
Hard. Right to his face.
I mean, Candace was nasty in her interactions and her relationship with Ben. Okay. So now she's acting as if, oh yeah, Charlie, I have this super secret knowledge. Charlie hated Ben,
Well, he
and there
came
was
to her
bad
dream.
blood between them.
Yeah, he's in her dream, so we should just
Oh
take
yeah,
it,
so
right?
there you go.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But that's simply not true. I mean, Charlie really had an issue with very few people,
Right.
and if you talk to him behind the scenes and privately, he was a gracious guy. I mean, super gracious guy. Even when he was super annoyed with somebody, he
Mhm.
was a guy that was gracious. And by the way, that was his Christian walk.
Right.
That's what it was informed by. And Charlie was a good man in
You
that.
know, he seemed like the kind of guy, to be honest with you, and the handful of times that I interacted with him and talked to him, that he was I feel like, and I think you talk about this in the Bible, but I feel like talking about people in that way is that gossipy way. I feel like he didn't kind of have time for that. Like if
No.
he if there was like, hey, what do you think of this? He would speak into it.
Yeah, but
I
he
don't
was
think he'd be like,
too busy to traffic and gossip.
yeah, like, hey man, did you see what Ben Shapiro did? Like, he didn't come off as that guy. He even when we were talking, it was like cool. We were talking about what's going on. I was like, my kids. He's like, I know, that's really awesome. Okay, what's the next thing? We're getting ready to go. Okay, and it was like, oh, and he turned back and be like, no, cool, man. We got.
I mean, I've seen Charlie angry a few times,
Yeah.
right? I've seen him genuinely pissed off, and he was genuinely pissed off the one and only time that he called me, and he was like, Bryce, I need you to do this and this and this. And he was pissed, and it had to do with what people were doing to Trump in regards to the pro-life thing. And he told me,
oh, well, we talked about it.
Yeah. He told me, you call right now, you call Seth Gruber and you call Lila Rose right now, and you tell them that this is not helpful. I mean, and dude, it was the one and only time, by the way, that Charlie called me and kind of blew up my phone via text. And blew up my phone via phone calls. And I happened to be on a horseback ride out of service. Dude, when do I go and ride horses? Where there's no cell service? When am I away from my phone? People who know me will witness how fast I am to return phone calls or return texts, and it's unhealthy. But it was the one time, and Charlie's calling me saying, I need you to do this. And I did, and I had a long phone call with both, and kind of talked through the that issue, and by the way, I was correct, and Charlie was correct in what needed to be done with that issue, and what our position needed to be, because it was, hey, and I think I talked about it on the show at the time, but
we did.
Yeah, vote for Biden meant more dead babies. Okay.
That's it.
And that was it. That was kind of simply that. And we, and I had a debate with, AJ Hurley and others on this many times.
Pro-life Spider-Man, remember?
Yeah. We had it out with a few people because, yes, Trump and JD Vance, I think they were definitely imperfect on that issue. And, but, hey, we needed to have a respite from this left-wing push towards communism, and Trump gave us that, and Trump will be and was more pro-life than any other choice we'd ever had. Anyway, but Charlie, again, and by the way, I mean, he could get pissed, he could get frustrated, he could get mad. He was a human being. He largely was very gracious to even the people that he was annoyed by, or the people who were his enemies. Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk never had bad blood between them. That's a mischaracterization and opinion from Candace Owens that is just does not. Most of these never are dignified enough to be put on this list as lies. TPUSA lies. The cover up of Charlie Kirk's death. She's a bat. Crazy.
Hey, I like your Christian came in right there. I like that.
Well, listen, man. I tend to have a filthy mouth more so than I should.
Bro, I get it.
But on this show, I promised Salem, as a Salem host, that I would not. Otherwise, I'd probably be dropping more expletives for expletives are a wonderful thing. They're intensifiers, and when used sparingly, like salt, they can really express the displeasure. And Candace Owens is a see you next Tuesday.
Oh, he went all the way. He went all.
Well, listen, man, you don't traffic in the death of my friend. Calling him a friend. I mean, Charlie would be so furious with her, and he'd be so sad at the same time that she is doing this. He would not look at her as some hero trying to sort out his death and trying to investigate. He would have never wanted this to happen. And I think she's wicked in perpetuating these things, and it's insulting. It's sad. It's pathetic. The next one though that I want to hit is number 9 on her list. Charlie establishing Doge was not unusual. Turning Point has financially audited the company every year since its inception. Okay. This is where she's taking what is a normal maturation of a company that is going, any enterprise that's going hard like this under a founder leader who puts people together, inspires leaders, says, you go make this decision, you go make this decision, you go do this, you go do that. Many of them were not professional business people. Okay. Right. Many of them in the organization were not prudent all the time in what they did, right? The donors, by the way, these things, the financials were shared, the financials were available. There was a multi-year audit under previous administrations by the IRS.
Yeah, they have to be extra careful because
oh my gosh, man! I mean the IRS, and I'm not going to go into any details, but was on TPUSA like crazy all the time because it was a conservative organization, and during that time, the IRS, and people know this in the conservative movement, was weaponized against conservatives.
Oh yeah,
and oh, by the way, that audit that went on and on without resolution. That scrutiny that went on and on without resolution for years, TPUSA successfully passed. Okay. And by the way, being not always prudent and running 1,000 miles an hour with a group of kids, the average age, man, at the organization was in its early 20s, right? Of the leadership teams and everybody. I mean, by the time Charlie was, 30, he was the old man of the group.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody's in their 20s.
And so Charlie saying, hey guys, we got to tighten some stuff up, was the maturation of Charlie Kirk, and saying, hey, hang on a minute, let's deploy our resources more and more effectively. Right. You know what? I'm inspired by Elon Musk, and I'm inspired by Doge, and I'm inspired by that. And you know what? We're going to put some better financial oversight, and we're going to put some better parameters on things. And having those conversations, okay, is good, right?
Right.
What she's implying here, so offender Tyler Boyer, who, by the way, was part of he had direct oversight over one of the entities himself, and there was a little bit of a firewall there because of the difference in the 501c3 and the 501c4. Okay.
Right, action.
And so saying that it wasn't unusual, all right, those, I don't know what his direct quote was on this, but she's taking that to be like, oh, there's nefarious things. What would you present to the world? Oh, yeah. Charlie wanting to tighten things up and putting Doge in. Yeah, that's not a big deal. No, that's not unusual. Whatever. Okay. There's no difference than a CEO coming in and saying, hey guys, we're going to make some changes here.
Yeah.
All right. And so her, again, these are opinions that she has in what was going on behind the scenes. she had no knowledge of what was going on behind the scenes. Candace Owens was persona non grata at TPUSA because of what she had been doing over the last couple of years. That's why she hadn't spoken at the last event, and she wasn't running around the country speaking at other events, because remember, it was more than just AmFest. There's speaking opportunities for people all over the country, and Candace used to be on that circuit, and she wasn't anymore.
The only thing that they brought her back for was the Women's Summit. I know they did that. That was about it. But when it came down to the regular tour stuff, that wasn't happening. And I know when it comes down to tightening up the ship like that, and that's what Charlie wanted to do, and you're right, it makes sense. I'll give you two quick points of view. I remember I helped open this bar in Pasadena, and the owner was about 32, and the people that he hired, I was 26 at the time. Everybody was in their 20s, and then they had that one owner who was like 45, but he kind of was like further down the line. That first year, man, and this is back in my secular days, we closed the bar at 1:30.
A shot for me, a shot for you. A shot for me, a shot for you. Where did all the booze and profits go?
We're like, I don't know. Down my stomach. No, but it got so bad. The last time we did it, which was about a year into this, we stayed up till 5 a.m. We popped a bunch of champagne bottles, which was not a good idea. The 45-year-old who was like more of a business guy, he comes and he's, all right, we're done. I'm taking away the key from you. The manager, who was like 28, we're changing the code, and everyone you can only have one drink, and you got to like log it in to the bartender at the front. Okay. I say that to say, my wife was she was part of Turning Point Faith. She actually ran it a little bit over at Thousand Oaks with Godspeed. We saw the ship get tighter from like, well, just kind of go out and see what's up and see if you can connect to, like, we need you to do this, we need you to do that. We have this list every 2 weeks. We'll have a call every I think it was every month and a half or 2 months with like the leader of the area. Like, everything got turned up so it could be more efficient. Because in the beginning, it was just kind of like, hey, we just kind of loving Jesus and we'll see what's up, and here's some flyers, and like, that's what it was. Make sure you just give out flyers every other week. And I saw it get more streamlined as the time went on. So it, like you said, it is a part of it. I saw it happen directly because my wife worked directly with Turning Point Faith, or for Turning Point Faith. So if people would just, I really do wish this, Bryce, is if you don't know and you want to take one side of the argument, because you don't know, you have to then entertain the other side of the argument just to hear the balance in your own head. To go, it's only this thing because of whoever else. No, most of those people don't know Candace. I talked to a guy the other day. You don't know Candace. You'll never know her. You probably never meet her. So you can say, hey, I trust this, but then what is the opposite side of that coin, and what does that look like? Please, for the love of everything holy, give that a chance, people, because it will probably sound more clear than where you're actually sitting with a lot of the conspiracy theories anyway, which is it's just for fracturing, man. For fracturing, and people were trying to get that market share that Charlie left when what happened to him.
That's it, man. They're getting the eyeballs. There was millions and millions of new eyeballs on Charlie,
right?
And tons of people that are super sad by his death, myself included. People who know that there will never be another Charlie Kirk. He was one of one. People who are just so blessed by him are being caught up in the nonsense that Candace and some of these other folks are trafficking in, and it's sad. And I mean, I would encourage people out there, and there's plenty of people who, I mean, I'm getting a ton of comments of people who hate me for calling her out. And yes, I'm spending a whole episode with you to go through this, because it does matter. Right. And you can't stay silent when somebody is dragging the organization through the mud. An organization, again, that built her, that really created her, and gave her the platform that made her a wealthy person. And I mean, it is sad, and Charlie would have hated what she's doing.
Well, and I'll say this: I was at Turning Point. I was at AmFest last year, and I met this really nice lady, Jewish lady, who's a donor, and she told me the story of how heartbroken she is about where Candace has gone and doesn't understand it. That she first met, that Charlie was so excited about her and was like, "You need to meet this girl. She's amazing. She's a firecracker. All this, that, and the other." And this woman met her and was excited about her. And like right now, and Bryce, when I tell you, there's a pain in her eyes and heart about like how she feels about where she felt about Candace to where it is now. It isn't this like I hate her now that she's doing this. It's like your kid that turned on you and now you don't understand like kind of how to feel about things. I saw this in this woman's eyes, who's a donor, who's a Jew, loves Israel, was heartbroken for where she saw Candace going.
Yeah.
And that's the side again that I think people are missing. Candace especially, and the people now that are following her. Turning Point and this whole movement was based on authenticity, like you said. People loved Charlie. People close to him loved Charlie. We loved the organization. So to start from a place as if everyone was in on something without the example of love being there and being kind of fair to that side of the coin, that's to me part of what's evil. It's like you have an opportunity to go, like you said, ask all the questions you want, but you know, and she knows. Andrew loved Charlie. Like his wife loved Charlie. Rob McCoy loved Charlie. Staff that worked at Turning Point loved Charlie. Start from there and then see where your theory takes you. But when you start for no one except for me loved Charlie, I think you should tell the world exactly everything you need to know about her position.
All these people are in on it, but me, I'm the one pure person that you know, defending Charlie, and that's the you know, and I'm the hero of this thing. No, you're not. You know,
you're getting revelation.
Yeah, you're getting clicks, and your show's number one because you are doing this, and it's
not going to last.
Wrong. No,
it's not going to last, bro. It's going to come down hard. It's going to come down hard.
No, she's done.
Because it's like the Never Trumpers, right? It's like, okay, while you can use it, it's fine, but Trump won again, so the left doesn't need him anymore. So it's going to get to a point. The evidence is going to come out even more. People are going to see it, and there are going to be people that hold on because that's what they like to do. But
let's get all the evidence out. I mean, you know, but by the way, they're not releasing it to you, Candace. You know, I mean, why aren't the videos of his death being shown? Because you know what? You know how awful those videos are going to be, the close-ups from the cameras that are focused on Charlie, those other angles. You know how gruesome that is, and how sad that would be for Erica Kirk to see that on a constant loop on social media everywhere. You know, of course they're not putting that out. Of course, TPUSA and the police are keeping that tight.
Like what is out there is bad enough, and I think about his kids.
Oh, dude,
yes.
I've watched those videos a few times, right as it happened, just to analyze and just to see and just to say, you know, I mean, at that moment we didn't know that he was dead or not, but looking at that and just making my own judgment. I mean, and it was
first angle.
It was brutal to see that, and I don't want to keep watching it. I'm not going to watch it. It's my friend.
I did it twice, and I don't never do it again because I can't. I see it. I see it as we talk about it. I see it.
Yep. No, I don't want it in my head anymore.
And one of the things, real quick, one of the things that one of the security guards did that always stuck with me about a level of training, when he was hit and he froze there on the seat, one of the guys came and pushed him down right away. Mm-hmm. And that to me was like, get him to the ground because you have to get him out of line of sight in case another bullet's coming.
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, that's training.
And I was like, that to me was, I mean, I saw what I saw, so I knew in my heart, I was like, it was too late. But again, the movement that he had, I'm like, that's what you do. Yeah. That's what makes sense to me to do. And it's, man, Bryce, it's so wrong what she's doing, man. It's so wrong what she's doing.
And you know, man, I'm wrong, dude. I'm having to, pray about my, attitude towards her. I mean, I'm very comfortable calling her out, and I don't think that we should restrain ourselves. But I'm praying for where my heart's at, because man, I'm angry and I'm pissed, and I don't want it to turn into complete hatred for her.
Right.
But it's hard not to feel bitter that people are making money off of this, and most of them, they know it's nonsense. I mean, I'll give a last little example. So she posts, Candace Owens reveals that Turning Point USA turned down UVU's offer to move the event where Charlie Kirk was taken out indoors, right? Even after receiving safety warnings. Okay. Listen to the Brian Harpool interview. These guys, they start planning these things a couple of weeks out, each one of these tour stops. They know the risks that they were taking. Charlie wanted to be out in the open at most of these events. It wasn't much different from the event that we had here in Boise, which I took a bunch of people to, and we were all in the tightly controlled, behind the scenes VIP area, with inside the tent area, right? And the security, they actually had extra beefed up security. There was things that they could not control, but there was things that they were told, and he goes through the details on it, and some things that I was theorizing on.
Right.
I left Brian alone. I'm gonna call him, and I think I'm gonna get him to come on now that he's talking. But he's such a stand-up guy, such a good guy. That whole team was one of the best teams I've ever seen for this. I mean, they were all really good, highly trained, and they did the right things. They could not control the entire environment. They were his close protection crew, and they were there to protect him in those concentric circles. And the police, and he talks about it in the show with Sean Ryan. The police said, hey, we've got that covered, right? Because he had some of those concerns that they shared. And Charlie wanted to be out of doors. And UVU, what she's not allowing for is UVU is telling her, perhaps, okay, or telling others. I didn't watch her whole video. But she's acting as if it was unusual that he would be in that environment outside. Okay. She also is saying lies about the event was unticketed and it was this and that. They were never ticketed.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
That was not what Charlie did, because if it was ticketed and people had to sign up and people had to pay and you had some of those restrictions, people would not show up that disagreed with Charlie. Exactly. Right. And Charlie knew that and expressed that. And Charlie also knew he was taking these risks. Charlie was comfortable taking the risk. He knew the danger that he was in. He got threats all the time. They were always chasing down threats, working with the FBI all the time. I was a part of chasing down threats in the past as well for Charlie and talking with the FBI and all that in the early days before he had this team. And he wanted the risk. He knew that that's what he was doing good work. She knew that. That's why I'm calling her out as a liar, because she knew the character of Charlie. She knew what the events were. She knew how they were organized. She knew that you couldn't cover every possible scenario. Again, there's laws, there's things that they could not do because of, like drone restriction. There's things that the police could do that they could not do. And that's it. And so for her to lie about the tickets and for her to act as a, see, this doesn't add up. She knows better, and that's evil.
Yeah. Devil's in the details, man. And it's all, like you said, to the ignorance of the individuals that don't know, but they're moved emotionally right now.
Yep.
And everyone out there, you're falling for what the left does. Like it's starting from her narrative of everyone is tainted against Charlie except for her, which people miss. Is that just like that story of Trump called Charlie to call her to say stop with the Brigitte Macron or France won't be in on the Ukraine-Russia peace deal? It's like, wait a second. You guys are trying to, what she did was say, we won't give peace in a war in Eastern Europe unless she does something.
Unless Candace Owens. No, she's got delusions of grandeur.
Just like no one's going to find out the truth of Charlie Kirk's death unless she comes up with it. It's like, guys, there's only a handful of times. Anybody listening or watching is going to be the true hero in a moment. And a lot of times people don't even know how to stand up in that moment, let alone multiple world impactful moments. And you haven't been, you're not an elected official, but it all circles around your ability. I mean, like Russia and Ukraine won't, like France won't deal in geopolitical situations unless Candace Owens stops. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, are we serious here? Like, are we like, let's remember, we're supposed to be the adults in a room on this side. We're supposed to be the serious people. And we're saying, oh, well, she said a dream. She said, if you know, and it acted like the institution or this organization she was a part of doesn't move in the way that it moves to raise doubts. It's just, it is next level, dude. It is next level. This is going to be, we're going to look back at this as like a sad point of the movement that started in 2016. And look what happened when we lost such a dynamic leader, that people started vying for space. I call this the Alexander the Great situation. Charlie was our Alexander the Great, and you had all his generals, or people like your Ben Shapiro, like your Candace Owens, and so on and so forth. And now that he's gone, you would think the organization would be like, now, yeah, we did great, let's keep going. It's like, no, people want that mantle. They want that crown that they see. Charlie was very magnanimous, and he moved in a different way. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, Ben is powerful, but he couldn't move in a room like Charlie did. Yes, Candace is intriguing, but she couldn't move in the same room the way Charlie did. Like, Charlie was moving a way that no one else could do.
Yeah.
And now I think a lot of those people, and I just say those two names because people know them off top, but there's still others out there that are vying for this market share. And it's sad to see someone willing to lie on organization, people who made her, someone she considered her friend, and the widow, as a Christian, going after the widow. It's sad to see. It's sad to see. It's the root of, the love of money is the root of all evil. And we're seeing it.
It's despicable, and it's sad. And again, it goes with what I had observed and seen, with her over the years. And people like the Prager organization and the TPUSA organization were gracious and did not talk out of school, and continued to bless her in ways, even when she did them dirty. And she I think karma, for lack of a better term, what comes around goes around. I think she is in for it, and will have to answer for this despicable and sort of desperate move to ride the algorithm. And she did that in flirting with Nick Fuentes and the Grifers and all that stuff. That's why she left Daily Wire, and she thought all those people were gonna flock to her because of what Nick Fuentes was saying. And she chooses strange bedfellows, and she has gone in a direction that really is sad. So we got to pray for her. We have to pray for Charlie and his family, and the TPUSA family, and all of Charlie's friends who are still unmistakably grieving, and a lot of people. TPUSA is left in the lurch by Charlie's murder, and it's hard to have an organization like that in the midst of the chaos that it's in, where people are vying for power, vying for control, unsure of what's happening next. I mean, that's a tough place to be in. But it's a very strong organization. I think Charlie's legacy will continue. And again, let's pray for these characters that are behaving so evilly, that they'll turn away from that.
Well, and my last point I'll say to that is I know she's forgiven, but I don't believe Erica's going to suffer any fools. So I think everybody, when it comes to dealing with her and being around her, it's like, stop messing around, because she lost her husband. Yes, she is gracious and she's forgiven, but I just don't see her as someone that will suffer fools. And so that's where we're sitting.
Yep.
That's where we're sitting.
Well,
all right, brother. We got into it. We dug in. We dug in.
dude. Well, I love you, my man.
Love you too, as always.
Glory, and we are out. Weird subject here, but most of us who've lived a little life out there or live with beloved pets accumulate parasites. If you're struggling with gas, bloating, loose stools, or constipation, or if you often feel tired and weak, there's a good chance you might have a parasite. According to the CDC, millions of Americans are infected, but most of us are unaware. That's why folks are loving Paratarget by Nature's Blast. Paratarget contains a unique blend of natural ingredients that help kick those parasites to the curb. People who use it have reported better digestion and improved energy levels. Just one scoop mixed into your favorite room temperature or cold drink every day does the trick. You'll even get delicious recipes for a tropical smoothie and refreshing citrus sunrise mocktail. Try Paratarget for yourself and save 35% on your order today. Go to Nature's Blast store and enter discount code Bryce at checkout. That's Nature's Blast store to get 35% off of Paratarget. Enter Bryce, B-R-Y-C-E, at checkout.